Just a reminder before today's programme that if you missed it previously, you can check out the last episode of the Ident Review, where we took a look at ITV Creates' efforts for the month of October. And now, here on AMTV, the latest episode of the Ident Review, and we return to ITV Creates, looking at those efforts that were posted in November.
Get ready.
Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review, the show where we have a good look and chat about the various television idents that we have come to know and love over the years. And for this instalment, we return to the ITV Creates initiative and what original creations have emerged from the month of November. The 11th month of the year has come to a close, which means that we have our 11th batch of idents to gaze upon from the ITV Creates initiative. Will this be a month full of winners, or a less than stellar batch? You're about to find out. And we're going to kick things off with our first resident artist of the day, Joe Taylor.
Good morning, it's David here on ITV, welcoming you to Monday morning and introducing another fresh look for the channel with this week's resident artist Joe Taylor taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more, all you have to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, at 6 o'clock it's the best way to start a brand new week with the latest news, entertainment and weather, all for you here on Good Morning Britain. If you love gardening shows and especially Alan Titchmarsh, then you're in for a right treat tonight as he opens the gates to his very own garden. Set a reminder and don't miss 50 Shades of Green at 9. Back to this morning and we're off to court for Judge Rinder. The turfs on Wimbledon Centre Court, Prince Charles's Gardens at Highgrove, and never seen before on TV until tonight, Alan Titchmarsh's very own garden. Set a reminder for 50 Shades of Green, it's new at 9. Right now on ITV, it's time for This Morning. Warwick's looking for top 10 list answers on royal family residences, chemical elements, and the Spice Girls on new Tenable at 3. Time now, though, to catch up with the very latest ITV lunchtime news. Warwick's looking for top 10 list answers on Oscar nominees, Narnia novels, and chemical elements in new Tenable in an hour. But first, the Duke and his dealers are in High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire for today's Dickinson's Real Deal.
A very detailed sculpture to start off with. It may not look like much from afar, but looking at all the intricacies of Joe's work here is really quite extraordinary. This is a structure that any avid Ident fan wouldn't think twice about owning and displaying. I wish we got to see even more of how it was made, incorporated into the sequence. However, don't fret. As if, like me, you want to learn and see a little more about how Joe put this together, you can check out the behind the scenes on ITV's channel here on YouTube. Honestly, I don't have a great deal more to say on this one. The different shades of blue are gorgeously blended, the overall image looks fantastic. As I said, maybe a little more emphasis on how it came together, but definitely a solid start for November. Let's see what we get as we continue with our next resident artist, Anna Berry.
Good morning from us all here at ITV this chilly Monday morning. And it's my pleasure to introduce another fresh look for the channel. And this week's resident artist is Anna Berry, who's taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more about Anna, all you have to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Back to today, and remember, we've got all new Cash Trapped with the lovely Bradley for you this afternoon at 5. But now, kick-starting your week. It's Good Morning Britain.
Join Bradley Walsh this afternoon here on ITV for a brand new series of Cash Trapped at 5. And we're off to court right now this chilly Monday morning for Judge Rinder. 6 days to go, so exciting. So Warwick, the town, plays host to the Dealer's Den and New Dickinson's Real Deal this afternoon. See what Bobby Dazzlers they uncover at 2. But right now, get the kettle on, grab some lunch and take your front row seat for Monday's Loose Women. Cash Trapped is back with a brand new series this afternoon. Join Bradley Walsh at 5. But now it's time to catch up on the top stories making the headlines today with the ITV lunchtime news and weather. Warwick's looking for top 10 list answers on Prime Ministers, EU countries and films in New Tenable in an hour at 3. But first, Warwick, the town, plays host to the Dealer's Den as we join the Duke, David Dickinson, in search of the real deal.
Certainly a very interesting sequence. On the whole, I do really like what Anna has put together here. The light shades of purple that make up the ITV logo here really do contrast extremely well with the stark black background. I love what almost comes across as flower petals that have been used en masse in order to form the logo in the first place. The element I probably enjoy the most is the fact that we see parts of the logo move once all the petals are in place, giving a sense of organicness to it, almost like it's its own sentient being that is alive and moving. Now it could just be my eyesight, but when we zoom out to see the final resting or panning image, I struggle to see if any parts of the structure are actually moving, and granted they may not be, but I think it would have helped create an even bigger lasting impression on audiences, had parts of the logo, or indeed the whole thing itself, been constantly moving or in operation in some way. Still, a very nice effort from Anna Berry. Maybe not one of my all-time favourites this year, but certainly one that isn't forgettable. Now let's pace on forwards and take a look at the work of our next resident artist today, Sam Curtis and Dave Bennett.
Good morning. You might have noticed we've another fresh look here on ITV with resident artist Sam Curtis taking on the challenge this week. To find out more about that, search ITV Creates for more details. Now, time to kickstart your Monday with Good Morning Britain.
Find out how the campmates are settling into those hammocks tonight when brand new I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here continues at 9. We're live now on ITV with Holly and Philip for This Morning. Dickinson's Real Deal is at 2 and 48 model cats land on one of our dealers' tables when the Duke and his team are in Staffordshire to find today's Bobby Dazzler. Time for our first catch-up of the week with Loose Women now, and guests Joey Essex and Corrie's Beverly Callard on ITV. We're off to Staffordshire with David Dickinson in half an hour for Real Deal. First here on ITV, all the latest now with the lunchtime news. New quiz show where no one leaves till someone wins is at 5 with Bradley Walsh. That's new Cash Trapped. Now on ITV, it's Bobby Dazzler time. Here's Dickinson's Real Deal.
Who doesn't love a scaffolding-looking creation? What the lads have gone for here is conceptually simple, putting a series of pipes and beams together, but the way the overall logo looks at the end is still quite nice. Admittedly, for me at least, the shot has to be at the exact right angle for me to truly see the ITV logo, but the sequence still works. However, it does come across in parts as being ever so slightly dull. I think we should see much more of how the lads put this behemoth of a piece together, as well as maybe some additional details on the logo or even on the background parts of the structure, just to help it stick out that little bit more. Of course, I'm no designer, and this is just my opinion, but remember to let me know your thoughts and feelings on what we look at today in the comments below. Overall, Sam and Dave's work isn't to be laughed at. It's still a very decent effort, but for me on the whole, this is one Ident sequence that I can see slipping from my mind in a few weeks' time. And with that, let's move on and take a look at the final batch for today, from resident artist, Dan Rawlings.
Good morning, Jason here with you today, and as you've probably noticed, we've another fresh new look here on ITV, with resident artist Dan Rawlings taking on the challenge this week. To find out more, simply head to ITV Creates for the details. Now let's get this brand new week started with your Mondays. Good Morning Britain. The ladies will be here to liven up your lunchtime. Stick around with us here on ITV for Loose Women, live at 12:30. But now they've got loads going on the show today, so let's get on with it and join Philip and Holly for your Mondays this morning. David and the dealers are in Warwick this afternoon. See what treasures come to the table in Dickinson's Real Deal at 2. But now we're live with the ladies for your Mondays, Loose Women. The people of Warwick will be bringing their treasures to the table this afternoon, but will they take the cash on the table or gamble at the auction? It's Dickinson's Real Deal in half an hour. That's right after all the latest lunchtime news. Sanjeev Bhaskar turns quizmaster to host our brand new weekday game show here on ITV. The Switch starts today at 3. But first, we're heading to Warwick to see what treasures come to the table in Dickinson's Real Deal.
A truly stunning bit of work to finish on. We see a glass box adorned with miniature designs, the ITV logo buried within them, and light shines within to create an effect that blows up this structure all around the space. There's something wonderfully atmospheric about it. I'm not sure why, but it made me think that this wouldn't look too out of place in something such as Over the Garden Wall, which is a great show, by the way. Also, I'm not sure whether this was intentional or not, but as winter approaches and temperatures start to drop dramatically, a lot of the sculptures within the box almost have a sort of chilled look, almost as if it is anticipating the winter months that lay ahead. If I could offer any criticism at all to this one, I would ask for even more detail. Let's see even more of these smaller things that are within the box, and then we can see that much more when the image is blown up to beam across the whole space. But even with that minor criticism, this is still a brilliant interpretation of what ITV Creates is all about, and I think, personally, this stands as my favourite ident sequence from the initiative in the month of November. Overall then, how did November stack up for ITV Creates? In my view, pretty damn well. Out of the 4 sequences we've looked at today, each of them at their core offered something truly unique, and in some ways, something memorable. We had Joe's gorgeously detailed sculpture, Anna's interesting petal-like moving logo, Sam and Dave's scaffolding behemoth, and Dan's enchanting landscape world. All of these in some small way will initially stick out to viewers. Dan's is my favourite, as I mentioned, and probably also would go into my top 10 ITV Creates sequences of the whole year, but even though that one in particular reigns supreme this month for me, all 4 of the sequences this month have been winners to some extent in various respects. November has been a pretty stellar month for ITV Creates, and I know I can't wait to see how December's efforts will close out what has truly been a creative year. And so, we've come to the end, but before we go, the final words from our broadcaster. That was all this week for this instalment of the Ident Review. I hope you all enjoyed watching it, and we hope that you tune in next week. We hope you are enjoying all of our festive efforts that we are bringing to you here on AMTV. We will endeavour to make sure you have something every day, but as previously mentioned, this may not always be possible. Keep checking our community tab for further updates. But until then, have a good week, and we hope that you join us again soon. Good night.